are welcome to Families Together TV with your regular host, Mama Kathy. So good to come into your home right now, and I know that it's been wonderful, but it's going to be better. Call your friends to tune in right now, because I promise you, you're going to learn quite a lot. I promise you that you're going to gain insight. Today's topic, briefly, let me get it out. Sex in marriage. You know this is about families. The TV is about families. Sex in marriage. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll zoom into this discussion.
I don't want to sing the latest song. I don't want to percolate the crowd. I just want to make you smile. I don't care who thinks I'm right or wrong. I don't care who tries to calm me down. I just wanna praise you now. You covered me in the midst of it all. You love me. You gave me another chance. You saw my needs when others saw my faults. You forgave me. I don't have to listen for my name. They don't have to walk me down the aisle. I just wanna make you proud. Should I make the Hall of Fame, or they save a special seat? I just hope that you'll be pleased. You covered me in the midst of it all. You love me, gave me another chance. You rescued me. I was going to fall. You saved me. So in my life, be glorified, be glorified. Yeah, yeah.
You are welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned and watching Families Together TV with your regular host again, Mama Kathy. Just like I said, I know I've generated a little bit of dust now, because sex is something that most people don't want to talk about outside. They don't want to go public. It's a private thing done behind closed doors, so why bring it out? Sex in marriage in a generation where sex is free. So where do we go to from here? I am not alone to discuss this. I have on set a man I have come to love and respect because of his opinion. I have come to believe that he has something for our generation. So help me please welcome Mr. PG Sebastian.
Thank you, Mommy.
Looking handsome.
Thank you.
For your wife. Sex in marriage.
Yes.
Hey. Do men love sex?
Yes.
What makes them love sex?
I guess we are wired like that. But it's not just men who like sex. I think that mutually, women also like sex.
Don't speak for women. I only ask, do men?
Well, men do enjoy
Do you
sex.
like sex?
Yes, I do.
Hey, brother. Oh my God, did you hear him? With all the big Bible he's reading, he still likes these things. I was expecting he was going to be a very spiritual man. Oh, Father Lord. But before I go any further, I want to read a scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And I'm going to read from verses 3 to 5. Maybe because of those who I know are not married. Let me just back up to verse 1. You know what? Somebody is learning something even when he's unmarried. I quickly read. It says, now concerning the matters about which you wrote, it is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. But because of the temptation of sexual immorality, Each man should have his own wife, and each woman her own husband. The husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights, and likewise the wife to her husband. For the wife does not have authority over her body, but the husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Verse 5, do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer, but then come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Or sex-prone age. Before you deny me sex, you should have spoken.
Yes.
Talked about it.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The time frame.
Right.
Acceptable by the two parties.
Right. Then again, what it also means is that once that agreement is made, or once that agreement is done, and both parties from the one okay it, if at any point in time there is a need for it to be revised, one person shouldn't just get up and out of their own internal workings decide that, okay, I'm setting aside the agreement and I'm going on to demand it. But it's only an act of respect when you go back to the person and say that, well, I said this, but I'm thinking that maybe we may reconsider it for at least for this period, or maybe we can set aside the agreement. We said that, okay, we're going to go this number of days for XYZ, or maybe I'm traveling, I'm going to be away for 2 months. When I come, of course, but
even before I go, let's have overdose to take me till I come back.
Good. And maybe after going for maybe 3 weeks, you feel like maybe you can't take it again. Oh, sweetheart, is it possible for you to just quickly fly over if I can afford it, to pay for it? Or is it possible for me to quickly come over? Or I'm coming over, so just get ready for me or something. It shouldn't be that, because there is an agreement and you have to stick to it. Either you go behind your partner because, well, we've agreed and she's probably sticking to it and I need it, so let me just probably do something. Or maybe out of the blue, you just want it again, and it's like you're forcing the other party because and that's what you want. But then you shouldn't forget that once you come up to terms or on that agreement, the other person sort of psych themselves up. So if it becomes necessary for you to change or revise the terms, it's only a sign of respect.
But does sex actually just start and end in the bedroom?
Not necessarily. It all depends on the relationship that you have with your wife.
Yeah.
If it's a very thorny relationship, a relationship where there is always conflict, a relationship where there isn't much peace, much respect, much honor, you really don't get much from your wife. It becomes more of an obligation, more of a duty than pleasure. It's just like having a child who is always giving you problems. Taking care of that child becomes a responsibility as opposed to being a pleasure, as opposed to being a desire, something that you always look forward to. Oh, it's Christmas, you are excited to get him a gift. It's his birthday or her birthday, you're excited to bless him with a gift. It becomes responsibility, and when you can't even honor that responsibility, you are really not bothered. In the same way, as a man, the way you relate with your wife, it bonds you emotionally, so the sex aspect comes and becomes more like a top up. Yeah. And whenever you want it, there isn't much resistance in it. And in the course of the day, assuming that you may even want to have sex in the evening, in the morning, probably you can just start your antics and your gimmicks, by commenting on her dress and everything. You can probably just make her know that today, after work, you just find nice ways of going around it. Powerful. In the course of the day, you may be teasing her, you may be sending her text messages and stuff like that. You try to shelve all the things that she said that you didn't like, things that
you shelve it just because of your where you're going
on a normal day, if she says
go
something...
Go ahead, I want you to be real.
Exactly. On a normal day, if she said something you didn't like, maybe you just pick on it, not necessarily fight, because it's not everything that we fight, but you may want to be honest about it.
Is it possible for a man to wake up just having in mind that this evening something will happen?
There are moments like that.
Wow.
There are moments like that.
Let us in.
Well, it just comes like a regular man. You wake up in the morning. I for the sake of our viewers, I wouldn't want to,
Don't go into graphics.
Exactly.
So,
but
a word is enough for the wise.
Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you are there. You really want it, but maybe because of time constraints. This is the modern day world. Corporate demands, and if you're going to beat traffic, if you're going to get to work in time, get the children to school in time, and then everything, and if you're also looking forward to having a very good sexual encounter, which is more of making love as opposed to having sex. Yes, there is a difference there.
Wonderful.
Yes, making love. So that it becomes a whole bouquet, it's a whole package, it's a complete thing, rather than just a man and a woman actually doing the actual thing. It becomes a whole package, beautifully packaged and everything. You can't do that unless probably you wake up at 4 a.m. and then but usually you may have been tired the previous night. So you don't want to beat your sleep over all these
Some
things.
people, even the previous night, maybe the appetizer had started, so they want to wait for the main course.
So yes, in that case, if you want, in the morning you want to quickly do one and then go, yes, but once in a while there is that spontaneity in it that you don't want to
I love what I am hearing, okay? But you know what? It also comes back to the fact that sex has been abused. PG.
Yes.
What is your take on husbands and wives boosting their sex life by watching pornography?
I wouldn't advise it.
Good.
Because primarily pornography or pornographic imagery is commercial. It's also addictive. What it means is that once you attempt getting yourself into this for the purposes of boosting your sex life, chances are that if your husband is not around, you may then want to practice some of these things on yourself as a woman, which then means that you may have to be using sex toys. If your wife is not around, you may want then to be practicing some of these things on yourself. And once you get addicted to some of these things, there may not be an end to it, which means that maybe you may just one day just tell yourself, oh, let me just watch it and then, just psych myself up and wait for it. What if during that time another woman comes around? What if during that time another man comes around and you have gotten to that point where probably you are so hyped up that something has to happen and you may lack that self-restraint, that something bad can happen. But then it's very addictive as well.
Beautiful. Hold your thoughts because we are going to hit the street. And then sample opinion on this topic that we had been looking at, sex in marriage. Some of you are hurting already because you feel deprived. Some of you, the demand is so high. It looks as if that's the only concentration. Some of you, quite a number of issues. Well, let's hit the street and hear people's opinion on this, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
What we should know is that in marriage, the Bible tells us that our bodies do not belong to us. Your body belongs to your partner. Therefore, as a couple, we should allow ourselves to one another in love, even in sex. And in sex, it should not be out of compulsion, but it should be with a willingness of love, out of affection for one another. And then we should give our all in sex, because it is a blessed something when you are married. And you should open every area of your body to your partner.
In marriage, it's supposed to be communication. So if the communication between the two partners is not there and there is confusion all the time, the woman will maybe prevent the man to have sex. But if the love is there, it's marriage. So I don't see the reason why the woman should prevent the man having sex.
You are welcome back. Yes, sex in marriage is what we're looking at. You've heard the respondents, you've heard their opinion. PG, before we went on that break, I think we've come to a point of agreeing that sex shouldn't be just for the bedroom. It should be a process that at least you prepare the person ahead of time. Who should initiate sex in marriage?
Well, unless it's a very, very conservative society where we try to put the woman down and make her of a lesser person, I think that anybody can initiate sex.
But you also realize that some women say if you do initiate, you look cheap. Does it apply in marriage?
There is nothing like I'm cheap
in marriage.
Unless it's a deliberate attempt of one party to make the other person look cheap. But if you are doing it of your own accord, out of love, and the respect for the institution for which you find yourself in, then there is nothing like doing this makes you cheap. Yes, as long as it is a proper and at least in a broader context, decent, then yes, of course, there isn't.
You know, because I'm a woman and I've heard severally where women say, but he's supposed to initiate it. I think I have a challenge. If you always initiate sex in your marriage without your wife ever desiring for it, as a man, how does it make you feel?
If you are not careful as a woman, it gets to a point your husband becomes tired of you.
Oh.
Yes, because...
Say that again.
Yes, if you are not careful as a woman, if you are always waiting for your husband to initiate sex, because you see, it is not an act that is one-way affair, where it's always from the man to the woman, and the man who always wants to satisfy himself. Sometimes we also want to be appreciated. Sometimes we also want to be wanted. We also want to be chased a little bit. That is how, you end up feeling that your wife also has something for you. But if your wife is always waiting for you to come around, then it may be a little bit of a problem. Exactly, because as a man, maybe there could be other women who are actually running after him.
Christian man.
As a Christian man, yes, there could be other women who may be giving him signs and hints. It may not necessarily be that they are interested in him per se, but they make it look that it's normal for a man also to be wanted. Probably they talk about how they chase their husbands, and as a man, you're asking yourself, so what is happening to my wife? It's like, if I don't make the move, then that's
nothing happens.
Exactly.
Oh, women. I am a woman also. Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 22 came to mind as you were discussing this. It says, for how long will you go about, O thou backsliding daughter? A woman shall encompass a man. The Amplified Version says, a woman shall woo, win, and protect. When I got to know about that scripture in the Bible, I shuddered a little bit, because now the responsibility also is on the woman.
Yes.
Before marriage, the man was running after you, chasing you.
Exactly.
But in the marriage, you should also be able to run after the man and chase her. But some women are so conservative. I went somewhere to preach, and this thing came up.
Okay.
And the woman was always being chased. The man in question, her husband was really addicted to sex. He loved sex. But one day the woman said she did something because she was getting tired. So she decided to take care of herself. Dressed very well, bought some nightie that was very beautiful. Made the bed so beautifully. The room was so well lit with candles and all that. The man came in and said, what is happening? He said, nothing, today is today. Baby boy, I'm just ready for you. And then, that day, the woman gave him 6 rounds. He was tired.
Exactly.
So the next day, he said, we are going to go back. He said, please let me recover from yesterday.
Exactly.
Oh, let me recover. If you have a husband like that, don't deny him sex. Because if you deny him sex, you are invariably sending him away. But what you do is prepare yourself like a bride for the groom. Prepare yourself and then wait for him. Give him. Does it really matter when discussing sex in marriage how a person appears? That's the hygiene. Does it? As a man, I want you to give me your perspective on hygiene.
It does. Hygiene is very, very critical. Somebody said something. It says that every time I am with my wife, sometimes I have to hold my breath or look elsewhere, because sometimes her breath puts me off.
And he said this outside. But has he told the wife? He may not even have told the wife.
No, he said his wife is very sensitive and he fears how to go about it because she may take offense. So then again, you see, it's both ways. There is the problem that must be solved, and there is a person who will take it personal once you bring up the issue. Yes, it's a big problem. Men who are sweaty, hairy, and they smell. Yes, I mean, I know they say that men naturally have a little bit of something, the body odor tends to be a little bit, even for the natural one that is not supposed to be so bad, it tends to be a little bit, more pronounced than that of a body, body's odor of a woman, than all that. But still, that doesn't justify anything. The skin naturally comes off when it's a little bit dirty, when you're dirty and then you actually like, rub yourself on. Yes, you can actually see it. Exactly. So, if it's that pronounced, coupled with the fact that there is a body scent that is coming, in addition to that. Yes, indeed, you may think that, in the heat of it, the man is all ready and then he's not thinking about all these things. But as human, we don't lose sight of some of these things. Unconsciously, we pick it.
It is so important as Christian men and women, even if you are not a Christian, hygiene has no class, has no religion, has no race. Hygiene is hygiene. We will encourage you, if you want to enjoy sex in marriage, please let your hygiene be up there. Take care of yourself. Buy deodorant. Buy body splash. Just take care of your body, because that alone.
And Mama Kathy, if I can say something, most of these things, like the body odor and then the rest that comes out, most of them, it is because of the kind of things that we eat. A lot of fatty food, a lot of, food with a lot of protein in it. We don't drink a lot of water. So we have a lot of trash in us, if I can put it that way. A lot of, filth in us. And then when the body is excreting it through sweat pores and then everything, it comes out like that, We have a lot of people with spot acne and then the rest of them. Most of the time it's because of the things that they consume.
That's right.
It ends up, coming out in other ways, and it affects them.
So this should also bring us to a point of probably looking at
our diet. Yes.
We'll have to consider that in
food exercise regime, cut down on some fat, cut down on certain things that we take in, and everything.
Hygiene. How about, I know that you have delved a little bit into it, but I think that we should give it more attention, because most marriages are breaking because of this. Some may not have broken literally in the physical, but the two people are living as strangers, cohabiting, but not really having much. Maybe before I ask the next question, the issue is, why don't men complain about some of the things they experience with regards to the hygiene? I know some men also have problems with this, but we wear hair. The hair may be smelling.
Maybe he may have said it once on a different issue. The woman may have not probably responded or reacted well. And so it goes to probably tell him that, okay, this woman is not probably receptive to such feedbacks or corrections or prompts. Yeah. So then he sort of, becomes a little bit careful.
That's right.
With time, he probably shies away from prompting the woman about how probably she should look, how probably she should smell and everything. A woman will tell you, but I'm tired. I just came from work. I've gone to the kitchen. I've gone to cook. Now after work, you came back and all you are complaining about is the smell in the hall and then everything. But you came, the husband came to see you watching Marie Cruz or whatever.
I don't watch, so I don't.
All these telling. So you've had time to sit in the hall with all the salmon and all the oil and everything smelling on you, to sit to watch TV. But your husband comes and talks about it and you get offended. How about rushing to the bathroom right
just
after
pour water on.
Sally? You understand? So sometimes you create the impression that you don't want your husband to talk, or your husband is nagging too much, and men don't want to nag. Men naturally don't nag. So a few of them that gather the courage and the confidence to come forward to be prompting you every now and then, when you give them a little bit of defensive attitude, then with time they stop and then they leave you to yourself. I know somebody who said, I used to complain a lot and then my husband started keeping quiet. This time after work, he just picks graphic and starts reading. He says, I've been begging my husband since I noticed that to talk to me. The man has just gone back into his shell. There's nothing I can do about it.
But that person needs help anyway. If you're listening and you're one of such, please get in touch with us. We can handle you or refer you somewhere, because you need communication. Communication to every marriage, what blood is to the body, so you can't just do without it. Don't shut down. I know that you have your reasons for having shut down, but it's not going to help. Don't invest into anything that there will be no return or yield at the end of the day. All what we are trusting God to bring about are changes, positive changes, that will make the next generation not get disillusioned about, the institution of marriage. And probably you are also listening. There are some men that don't change their boxers. If you bath twice, change twice. Don't repeat the boxers. Please, I'm begging you. Don't. Singlet is brown, you're still wearing it. And you think it doesn't matter? Your beards are unkempt and you don't think it matters? Sex is an act that quite a number of things culminate. Yes, brings us to a place where it is actually enjoyable. and your physical outlook contributes to a great extent, because sex is not just jump and go. It's something that God created to be enjoyed. It's a worship experience. Let me take you back a little bit more. Sex in marriage. If a man doesn't give a woman chop money, feeding allowance, can it affect? You are a counselor, that's why I'm asking you that it may not necessarily be that you are a woman to know how it feels. But you may have encountered a few women who have this problem where the man doesn't support. No bills are being taken care of by him. He doesn't support with the feeding allowance. He is just there. He is just laid back. Can that affect the performance in the bedroom?
Yes, it does, and to a very, very large extent, it does. You realize that at the end of the day, it all affects emotions. If I'm in the house, I am supposed to be the woman. My husband is supposed to be the man. He's supposed to be the head of the family, supposed to be in charge. Yes, that doesn't mean that he is up and I'm subservient. But I want to see that he's doing something. If for a brief moment of hardship, he cannot perform his husband duties or his manly duties, that's understandable. But if it is his nature that he doesn't give, he doesn't do anything, and then I take care of the house, take care of the kids, take care
pay
of
school fees, pay rent,
pay food. I mean, pay for food, or put food on the table. Naturally, I'm not an excited woman. Naturally, I'm not a happy woman. Because all the things that a girl could use her money for, I'm denied them so that I could take care of everything. It's one thing if I was a single mother. If it's one thing, it's one thing if I wasn't married. But now that I am married, there is that mutual consent that you are in my life to help me. You're not in my life to be one of the boys. You're not in my life to be one of my kids. That is why you came to take me from my father's house. I didn't come to take you from your father's house. You came